Yo, what is up guys, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. Okay, so in today's Honkai Star Rail video, I will be going over gameplay footage of me 3-starring Floor 10 of the Memory of Chaos. And this run was by no means the most effective or efficient run I could have done. I made plenty of mistakes that I will point out throughout the video. These missteps could have easily been avoided and probably would have resulted in a faster run, with more cycles remaining. My excuse is that I did my attempts late at night when I was probably tired and autopiloting more often than not. I probably should have slowed down or paused in between turns to better analyze my available options. Alright, enough of my annoying rambling, let's get started. So I start off the first half of floor 10 with two Ting Young techniques, Bailu's technique, and then we start the fight with Zile's technique. Now, I already made my first mistake here. I should have immediately spammed the 3 key so that Ting Young would be able to cast her ultimate before she gets attacked. She also has that third major trace that also gives her energy regeneration. Yeah, definitely the first mistake I made. Not a seriously major one, but it could have affected the run overall. These are all just really weak mobs, so I try to clear them out with Zile and her resurgence buff. Decide to break the little flying mob there, and we basic attack this mob because it's really low. Get the resurgence buff. E was not quite able to finish it off, but it's fine here. Ended up having to use my ultimate anyways. And then we basic attack to save a skill point. Ting Young's ult, and then we cast Silver Wolf's ult immediately on the main fat robot for the defense shred. I decided to kill off the little winged mob here for the resurgence buff, as well as the ultimate. Now here I was deciding on whether or not I should just save my ultimate or use it. I decided to use it because I know the robot is going to be using his AoE attack here very shortly, and Bailu can regenerate all that energy back anyways. Plus the, the invigoration buff also reduces the damage taken and also heals me at the same time. So here I had a decision. Should I focus the soldiers or focus the fat robot? I think I did a half measure here. I decided to kill off one of the robots, or not robots, the soldiers, just for the resurgence buff. So we'll be able to deal more damage to the robot. Use the ultimate here. And at this point, based off the amount of damage I was able to do, I figured just ignore the soldiers and go for the robot. Normally you want to kill off the soldiers because right here, if he is able to absorb one of the soldiers, he gets a huge attack boost. But if there's no soldiers available, he'll get a huge defense reduction buff or debuff to him. Ting Young's ultimate on Zile. Now we have to deal with two maidens. And the key for this part of the battle is to basically try to keep at least one of them weakness broken. At least one of them. Because if you don't keep at least one of them weakness broken, they're just going to chain attack one of your characters and perma imprison them. Because their special attack, I'm not sure which one, but one of their attacks basically has a high chance of imprisoning whatever they hit. And you'll see here very shortly, they both target my Bailu. Luckily, my Bailu has pretty high effect resist. She has around 50 something effect resist, so she was actually able to resist both of those imprisonments. So we weakness break the one on the left. And now we start focusing the one on the right. I know I'm not able to fully weakness break him, but the more times you hit these maidens, you see the little clock in the background, it reduces the amount of damage your team will take. So with that ability, she doesn't do as much as she normally would. Ting Young's ultimate on Zeeley there. Here I make a decision to whether to attack her, to weakness break her faster, or to heal my team. I decided to go for the heal, to play it safer, rather than going for the little bit of weakness bar damage that Bailu does. And here I decide to make a decision whether to either weakness break the one on the right, or to just go for the one on the left and try to kill her before she's able to get off her ability. We decide to go for the one on the left. And yeah, I still pick the one on the left here. And then for Bailu, we just weakness break the one on the right, because it doesn't really matter. Bailu doesn't do that much damage. Silverwolf ultimate. I believe I tried to kill her off here with Ting Young basic, but it didn't matter. The what do you call it? The memory turbulence ended up finishing her off anyways. So that all worked out well. Go for the safe heal here. I don't know why I used Bailu's ultimate here. I think it was just muscle memory, or I don't know, I guess I panicked or something. I should not have used Bailu's ultimate there. That was completely unnecessary. And now with only one maiden left, the fight becomes relatively easy and pretty self-explanatory as well. Here I use Zeeley's ultimate and then cast Ting Young's ultimate immediately after. I think maybe I actually probably should have used Ting Young's ultimate just for the damage boost, because I think the extra damage boost would have been able to finish her off regardless, but she dies to the quantum break damage anyways. Alright, now for the second half. I used Dan Heng's technique, and then after that I believe I start the fight with Palo's technique for the extra defense reduction. Yep. And we decide to buff strip one of the Mara-struck soldiers. Won't have to do again for the other one. March 7 shields herself. There's Palo's ultimate for the AoE defense shred. And of course we remove the reviving buff on the other Mara-struck soldier. Basic attack from Dan Heng. Doesn't quite finish him off, but it's fine. He's gonna die to freeze DOT damage regardless. Here I decide to heal Dan Heng. Unfortunately, that triggers his talent, Superiority of Reach, which it's kind of awkward when you trigger it when he doesn't have his ultimate, but it's fine. I needed to heal for Dan Heng regardless. And we're just basically chipping them away here. The Resonance does kill off one of them. Or not Resonance, Memory Turbulence. And we just basic attack here. Should be enough damage. Alright, second half. Now it's the General. One of the most annoying mobs that I have to deal with, or enemies, before I built Palo. But now that Palo's built, it makes this fight a lot easier. All you have to do is dispel the buff. I even double check here to make sure that he doesn't have the healing buff anymore. So he doesn't have the healing buff anymore. Don't gotta worry about the Mara-struck soldiers on the side. Here we time Natasha's ultimate perfectly with Dan Heng's ultimate for the extra wind penetration as well as the heal for my team. Decided to put a shield on March 7th herself, so she's able to regenerate more energy for her ultimate, as well as soak up most of the damage. Here I actually hold on to Pela's ultimate because I want to get an extra turn of it. So I wait until the general unfreezes or takes his action, and then we use Pela's ultimate. Heal Dan Hung again. Once again, really awkward timing. Actually, I think it turned out alright because the general ends up attacking Dan Hung here shortly, allowing him to generate enough energy for his ultimate. So now I'm able to trigger his ultimate when his talent is active for the extra wind penetration for around 35k damage. March's ultimate freezes the majority of them. Not the general, however. I believe I cast... Oh, I just basically thought I casted a shield on Dan Hung for the extra safety. I guess not. Oh, I end up Natasha ulting here. Okay. So it tops everyone up. Here I try to save Dan Hung's ultimate for the next wave, but it turns out that Pela doesn't do any damage, so I ended up using it just to save one turn or cycle to finish off the general. Right, now we gotta deal with Kafka. Unfortunately, Kafka has really high freeze resistance, so March 7th's ultimate is not able to land. She ends up charming Natasha here, which is fine. Since we have both Natasha and March, it doesn't really matter which one she dominates, because the one or the other can dispel the domination. So here I decide to dispel the domination from Natasha. And for this fight, we're basically focusing down Kafka first before we take on the general. The general we can just ignore because we can always dispel his healing buff with Pela. And since he's weak to ice, you'll notice here very shortly, he pretty much is almost perma-frozen for the first couple turns of the fight. Just from March 7th's ultimate, as well as his weakness break to ice. Here we wait for Kafka to finish her turn, and then we defend shred both of them. $26k damage, not too bad without his talent active. That's Kafka's AoE hit that does quite a bit of damage, forcing me to use Natasha's ultimate to top everyone off. See right there? What do you call it? The general just gets frozen again from ice weakness break. Do I shield Dan Hung? Yeah, I shield Dan Hung. I think I wanted to remove the shock from Dan Hung. Awkward timing once again for his talent, however. Right. March gets dominated. It's fine. I think March is actually the best target to be dominated because sometimes, I mean, she's just there for the shield anyways, and I can always cleanse her with Natasha. Now that he has the healing buff, we end up using Pela's skill to remove the what do you call it, healing buff. For some reason, I chose not to cleanse or dispel the domination on my March 7th. I'm not sure why. Might have been a misplay on my part. And here I actually panic and end up using Natasha's ultimate. I forgot that she's... I think it's her first Eidolon. She has a self-heal when she drops to critical HP levels. So that was kind of a waste of Natasha's ultimate there. Another misplay in the fight that I had. I think very shortly you guys will see that I probably would have been better off if I held on to the Natasha ultimate. Because right here, yeah, look, she's about to do another AoE, the big AoE hit. Yeah, our Paylo's almost dead. Dan Hung got chunked to half HP. Natasha's at around half HP as well. So it would have been really useful had I had Natasha's ultimate here. Yeah. So that misplay, if I got unlucky due to some RNG, could have completely ruined my run. But I guess we got lucky and they did not focus down Pela or Dan Hung. Here, for sure, I need to shield Pela so she doesn't die. Luckily here, Kafka targets March 7th. If she hit Dan Hung or Natasha, I think one of them would have been killed. So we end up dispelling March 7th because we have our ultimate. Normally, I probably would have healed either Natasha or Dan Hung himself. 4% HP. For some reason, this part, Kafka's just left with 1 HP for a pretty long time, but you'll see eventually she gets killed off by the... There's Natasha's ult. She gets killed off by the memory turbulence. Like I said, the memory turbulence for this season really did help me out for this season's run. Yeah, Palo's ultimate wasn't even enough damage. March 7th's follow-up, still not enough. We decide to shield Natasha here to remove the shock as well. Natasha's basic still doesn't kill her off. And here's the memory turbulence finishing off Kafka. Now it's just the general. Pretty straightforward on what to do. I think I used her skill here just because we had the extra skill points and I wanted to generate enough energy for her ultimate. Also more damage, I think, as well. Not by much, however. Here I was deciding on shielding Dan Hung for the, what do you call it? Talent passive? Wind penetration, but if I did that, then Dan Hung would not be able to use the skill afterwards. So I changed my mind about that. End up topping everyone off just to be safe with Natasha's ultimate. Apparently we got a achievement there from removing, I think it was like 6 debuffs or something. Anyways, that's the run. Finished it with 22 cycles left. Alright guys, well that's going to be it for this Honkai Star Rail video. If you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like or subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.